If you're looking for a dog trainer in Corpus Christi, you're in the right place. Finding the perfect match can really open up everything this city has to offer, for both you and your dog. We put this guide together to help you figure out how to make the best choice.
And it's so true, isn't it? Just picture a nice, easy walk along the seawall, or maybe browsing a farmer's market without your dog pulling or getting worked up over every little thing. That's really the whole point, to make your life here together more relaxed and a lot more fun.
So, we've broken this down into 4 parts. We'll start with what makes our local environment unique, then we'll get into how to find a trainer who's a good fit. After that, we'll cover the practical stuff, like costs. And finally, we'll talk about some great spots around town to practice those new skills.
Okay, let's kick things off with what makes having a dog here a little different. I mean, this coastal setting is just fantastic, but it definitely has its own special challenges and, of course, opportunities when it comes to training. Just think about a typical weekend. You could be on Shoreline Boulevard with all the walkers and cyclists, or to market with all those amazing smells. Your dog needs to know how to handle all that activity, not to mention other people and pets. Good training is what gets them ready for it all, and it can turn what might be a stressful trip into a really enjoyable one.
So, knowing the lay of the land is step 1. Now, let's move on to finding the right person to help you out. And that really means looking at their training methods and their qualifications to make sure they're a good fit for you and what you want to achieve.
You'll find that the foundation of most modern, effective training is something called positive reinforcement. It's actually pretty simple. You just reward the behavior you want to see more of. This works so well because it builds a really strong, trusting bond, which makes the whole learning process faster and much more reliable.
Okay, so with all the options out there, how do you even start to compare them? Well, checking a trainer's credentials is a really solid starting point. It tells you that they put in the time to get educated and that they're committed to professional standards. You can think of it as a basic quality check.
Here are some of the main certifications you might come across. Now, you don't need to be an expert on all the letters, but just recognizing them is helpful. Something like CPDT is pretty common for general skills, whereas certifications from the IABC or CBCC usually mean that trainer has a specialty in more complex issues, like serious fear or reactivity.
You'll also need to think about the format. Is in-home training or a group class better for you? In-home is perfect for things that happen at home, like barking at the doorbell or leash manners in your own neighborhood. Group classes, on the other hand, are fantastic for practicing focus when other dogs and people are around. A lot of times, a little of both is the best approach.
All right, let's shift gears and talk about the practical side of things. We're going to look at what you can expect to pay for training here in the Corpus Christi area, and, just as important, the key questions you should be asking before you hire anyone.
So here's a general idea of the costs. As you can see, a single private lesson could be somewhere between $100 and $175. A full board and train program is obviously a much bigger investment. Having these numbers should help you set a budget and figure out which option gives you the best value.
But, it's not all about the cost. Knowing what to ask is probably one of the most important tools you have. Asking the right questions helps make sure you're hiring a real professional who's a good fit for you and your dog.
You'll want to get solid answers to these 5 questions. Make sure their methods are positive and ask about their certifications. It's also really important to know how they plan to tailor the training specifically for your dog. And of course, you'll want to be clear on how you'll track progress and what the total costs and policies are. No one likes surprises later on.
And for our last section, let's bring it all back to your daily life. Because training doesn't just happen in a 1-hour lesson. It happens out in the real world. This is where you get to see all that hard work really pay off.
First up, just a quick but super important local rule to keep in mind. Unless you're in a designated fenced-in dog park, your dog needs to be on a leash in public spaces. Knowing this helps you practice safely and legally, pretty much everywhere you go. A good 6-foot leash is really all you need.
And luckily, Corpus Christi has some great spots to practice. Fenced dog parks like Labonte or Bill Witt are perfect for safely working on things like recall. And for practicing leashed walking with distractions like birds and waves, you can't beat Padre Island National Seashore. Just think of these places as your real-world training classrooms.
At the end of the day, investing in training is all about making life with your dog here in the city easier and more enjoyable. A well-behaved companion makes everything better, from having friends over, to hanging out on a restaurant patio, to just taking a quiet walk around your neighborhood. We hope this helps you find the perfect training partner to get you there.